legislature must be fully implemented. With me in the studio to review the ongoing strike as well as the implications of financial autonomy for Nigeria's democracy are two parliamentary workers. To my left, we have Mohammed Usman, who is the National President, Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming over. And Ladi Josiah, Vice President of the same association. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So you've been out of work for about 1 month now.
Sure.
You're enjoying your first leave, I presume?
Well, good morning, Nigerians. Well, we don't want to call it a first leave. It is something that has to be done to at least enforce that aspect of the constitutions that gave the legislators and the judiciary the autonomy.
So where lies the problem? Why has it been difficult in implementing that constitutional provision?
Well, first of all, let's look at what brought about the constitution, the financial autonomy first. The legislators and the legislative arm of government and the judiciary arm of government, these are bodies that should be autonomous, and I believe they are autonomous, and they should stand on their own without interference from, if we are really practicing the separation of powers, you understand, then every arm should be independent of each other, you understand. But the whole world, or let's say the country, is aware that President Buhari has granted the financial autonomy to the state legislature.
He issued an executive order.
After that.
Full implementation.
Yes, but the issue is the state governors are kicking about against the other 10. That, okay, yes, we have agreed to implement the financial autonomy, but we are kicking against the other 10.
What they are kicking against is the proviso there that the attorney, accountant general, and of course through the attorney general, can deduct from source notifications to be said, which they feel is illegitimate. So they've gone to the Supreme Court and will patiently wait for the outcome of that.
The question: why is it illegitimate? If you're kicking against the other 10,
that's the basis of the Supreme Court.
If you're kicking against the other 10, it means you don't have the might to implement the financial autonomy. Because the other 10 only came up and was saying, in case you, any state governor, refuse to implement,
that's a contentious.
You understand? Refuse to implement, then the Attorney General will direct the Accountant General to deduct from the source.
Okay, Ladi Josiah, why is it difficult for the governors to implement this constitutional provision?
Well, I think that question would have been best answered by the government themselves, but as for us,
from your perspective,
from my perspective, it's just a matter of control. We have a system in this country whereby our governors feel they are overlords in their states. They swore to protect and uphold the Constitution, but unfortunately, during their time in office, the Constitution was amended to give the two other arms of government independence from their control, and they don't seem to like it. Like we just spoke about, they're kicking against Order 10, that is a proviso for them not obeying the same Constitution, and they're saying it's unconstitutional. So on one part, you want to obey you are refusing to obey the Constitution. On the other part, you're insisting that the federal government should obey the Constitution. It doesn't really make sense to us common Nigerians, because all we see is the governors seeking to strangle democracy in this country. That's the simple plain truth, because the financial autonomy says allow each legislative house to operate its system. We're not saying carry money and dash them. No, we're saying the Constitution provides in section what is due to them. What is due to them, you deduct. It says directly deduct and remit to them. It does not give any proviso, it does not give any condition. So the only reason is, we have had instances where governors just wake up in the morning and impeach a speaker. We have the instance
the governors impeach speakers.
Let's call the speaker.
Yes, put it the way it should.
Okay, they sponsor motions that impeach speakers. We have a state where the governor directly attempted to sack the two justices of that state.
These are cases.
So the Constitution does not actually empower them to do that. Yes, like I said, they don't go directly, but they go behind the scenes. We are aware of that. As this process is going on, we have lost a speaker.
In what state?
Taraba State.
was impeached?
Of course.
So what did the State House of Assembly need to impeach him?
Before the strike. Okay, before the strike. When meetings were going on by the speakers to ask for this, they started making moves also, and it led to, and I believe what we're asking for is not out of the ordinary. We're just simply saying obey the Constitution.
Okay, just here is saying influence. The governors want to manipulate, they want to control, and they want to influence not just the judiciary, but most importantly, or more importantly, the legislature.
Well, it's obvious. It's obvious. You don't need, even a blind man can say it now, that this is exactly the thing. It's a show of power. I want to control. I want you to be under me. I want you to be a rubber stamp. I want you to do as I do. You understand? But
do as I say.
Yeah, do as I say. You understand? But Nigeria has come of age. Thank God for democracy. I thank God for President Buhari that gave the independence. I want to give the independence to these institutions. You understand? That is the only thing we're asking for. Fine, you get your allocations directly from the source. Why don't you allow the two arms of government have theirs directly?
At what point was this decision to go on strike taken? Because the fact that it's coming at the time the judiciary workers are also on strike suggests that maybe there's somebody pulling the strings from somewhere.
No, you see, for Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, we at least we have done all we should. All the rules of engagement, we have done that. We have written letters before now to various stakeholders, intimating them that we need this implementation. If the implementation is not done, this will be the repercussions of it. The repercussion is shutting down the whole 36 State House of Assemblies, which we have sent letters even to the implementation committee, to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. After that, the NEC of the union sat and had a meeting and directed that, fine, since the only thing Nigeria or the Nigerian government knows is strike, let's go on that, let's shut the houses of assembly, demanding for the full implementation of the financial autonomy. And what I mean by full implementation is not just that you say, okay, we have given you the autonomy. No, we want it in full, and not just picking and saying, no, okay, we have given you autonomy, this project is not yours, this thing is not yours. That is no.
What form of engagement, Josiah, did you carry out with the governors? Is it specific state governors, or did you utilize the Governors Forum platform?
Okay, let me start from the beginning. Like my president at least said, we started by writing them, and since the amendment of the law and the passing, even before the passing of Order 10, the president had set up a committee which the union had a representative as a member of that committee. So in that committee we had representative of the Governors Forum, representative of the Just Judiciary, and that of the legislature. So we have been interfacing through that committee before the Order 10 was passed. And with the passing of the Order 10, we have continuously written letters to the President of the Republic of Nigeria, to the chairman, to the chairperson of the Implementation Committee, who happens to be the Attorney General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Malami, and we have written to the Governors Forum. So we've written several letters, but not for once have they acknowledged or even called us for a meeting.
Not even once?
Not for once. None of the bodies have listed here.
And those letters submitted were acknowledged?
Not confirmed. Not for once. So it became apparent they are not really willing to listen to this matter. So it's not that, like you earlier said, that it's a first leaf. It's not that we are enjoying this. Everybody wants to be productive, but we've been home since March. And you just imagine how it feels to sit down, wake up in the morning and not go to work too much, just because you are asking the governors to do the right thing. And let me say something in addition. The National Assembly at the federal level had enjoyed financial autonomy since 2010. There has not been any crisis. There has not been any move to impeach Mr. President. In fact, since 2010, there has never been any move to impeach the Speaker or the Senate President. So why are governors feeling that if they give financial autonomy to the states' assemblies, they might have challenges? Before the passage of the financial autonomy in the National Assembly, we've had like almost 5 Senate presidents and about 3 or 4 speakers, one being impeached, one after the other. But From 2010, we've had relative, even in the last assembly, 8th assembly, they had a tremendous relationship between the leadership of the assembly and the presidency. There has not been any move to impeach either, even with the financial autonomy they had.
So there's a strong link between implementation of financial autonomy and guaranteed and safety tenure for presiding officers of parliament.
Precisely.
Obviously.
So that is evident. So that's what the governors are perhaps exploiting to kick them out at the slightest whim and caprice.
Well, obviously that is what is happening. And, you know, they felt that, okay, by doing that, the powers wouldn't have that much power again to do this, you understand? But what we are saying is, it's not about we individuals, it's not about personal interest, it is about Nigeria.
Because there's another issue. Is it because you want money to control general services in the federal parliament, where the lawmakers themselves determine expenditure without much checks? They want to their own funds and expenditure to control?
It's not. I don't think it's not about that. It's not about that. It's not about that. You see, it's like when I give you a bottle of water. If you ask for a bottle of water, it's the content of that water you're asking for. The bottle you're asking, not just a bottle. You understand? It's like you're giving me an autonomy now, and you're giving me, okay, I'm giving you just an autonomy, but you're independent already. But I come to your house to tell you what to do. You understand? Oh, I do most of the things in your own house. Take, for example, we are aware that the committee has met, the joint committee have met, the whole stakeholders have met, and they came up with a report. And somewhere along the line, some clause in the report was expunged.
I replaced.
You understand? For example, the capital project. You understand, that was supposed to go to the assemblies, was expunged. Why? If assembly at itself cannot carry on its capital project, the executive have to come and do the capital project for them, then where's the autonomy? You don't understand. You expect the state governor to come and purchase cars for the members of the assembly. You expect the state governor to come and furnish your offices, office furniture, office equipment. How is that possible? So I think,
so if financial autonomy is fully implemented, the parliament itself would superintend over this expenditure.
Definitely.
Are there enough controls?
Yes.
Of course there is.
Yes. Excuse me. We are mistaking. We are missing something here.
Because if they accuse the governors of being manipulative, one of the presiding officers who will directly with the clerk directly oversee this, are there inbuilt mechanisms to check how these monies will be spent?
Before I answer that, if you are not bothered about the governors being manipulative, why should you bother about the presiding officers being manipulative?
So it's because the governors are doing it, we should be known at a different level.
It's the case of the pot calling the kettle black. Now, unless you are doing it, you should not suspect somebody else of doing it. Now, there are already checks and balances. Just because the assembly has the powers to expend as provided for in the budget, we still have the office of the Auditor General of each state that still has the mandate as provided by the Constitution to carry out the check and balances of also the legislative arm of government.
Where does the Auditor General submit his report to? Is it not to the Parliament?
And does the Parliament just keep the report?
So it's like reporting the Parliament to itself.
But isn't that what is happening in the federal level? Has it failed? At the federal level, the Accountant General of the Federation, General of the Federation still presents the report to the legislature, and they still publish it, and we get to see that.
I think we need to do a lot of work on that issue of accountability at the federal level, where the Auditor General raises query and MDS bury response to it, and nothing happens. Even Public Accounts Committee in the Parliament will also shout sometimes on top of from the rooftops, and nothing happens. Perhaps we really need to, to strengthen the office of the Auditor General. Apart from submitting reports to whoever, including the Parliament, there were attempts to amend the laws unsuccessful. The President refused to pass during the 8th Assembly to give them powers to punish offenders.
But that's what we are saying. Let me remind you, just late last week, the Public Account Committee of the National Assembly announced that they are summoning the clerk of the National Assembly also. You see, that means they have in-house checks. We don't just look outward, we look inward also. So, like we said, there is a system grows, but you have to start from somewhere. You just don't wait and say, okay, perhaps they might not be like, so let us start the process. It doesn't work that way. The constitution needs provisions for all these things. Let's put everything in a straight line. And where they derail, we'll knock them back into place.
Okay, let's get a break. When we come back, we'll take some of our social media comments and continue to dig deep into the issues. Please stay with us.
Did you know that AIT's social media handles have all changed? If you are one of the millions of our followers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, this is introducing to you AIT's new official and rebranded social media handles. Like or follow us now on our Facebook page, Official AIT Live. If you're on Twitter, switch to our new handle at Official AIT Live and activate the notification button to get breaking news and updates on the go. For exclusive short videos and photo news, follow our Instagram account at Official AIT Live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official AIT Live, and enjoy live streaming of news and your favorite programs, where you can also watch our broadcast materials at your own convenience. Note that Official AIT Live is the only authentic social media profile name with all the handles on our website ait.live, with a notification prompt to accept and receive breaking news and updates on the go. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube platforms on your smartphone, tablet device, laptop, and desktop to follow us now. AIT.live. On air, online.
Workers of 2 out of 3 arms of government in Nigeria on strike, insisting that financial autonomy as enshrined in the Constitution must be implemented. With me to take a look at the legislature side is Mohammed Usman, National President, Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria. He's joined by the Vice President of the Association, Labi Josiah. Before we continue, gentlemen, let's see what our viewers are saying in our Twitter feed. Okay, Olusheyi Lori says Nigerian governors are the greatest problem of Nigeria. They have successfully killed democracy in their various states. They have handicapped their state legislature, state judiciary, and local government system. It's very unfortunate because it seems nobody can check them now. He's throwing up the many sins of the governors, what he perceives as the many sins of the governors. The local government, they are not on strike yet, but those in the judiciary and legislature are on strike. Steve Ofere says the governors in Nigeria see themselves as emperors. No one should expect them to support the kind of autonomy for judiciary workers and parliamentary workers, as well as that of local government, because we all know how most of them came to power. Many can't win any free and fair election. Daria Adebanja says the governors will not want autonomy for the legislature because they are benefiting from it. What an unfortunate situation. They think they are above the law, and yet they swore to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your quick reactions to this?
Well, it's good a thing that Nigerians are beginning to open their eyes and see really what is happening. Mind you, these are the same people that queue inside the sun, under the sun, to vote for these people after so many promises. And today the same Constitution, as he said, that you swore to uphold, is the same Constitution you are challenging. You understand?
Okay.
Our fear now is a precedent is about to be set. Somebody from somewhere will come out and still challenge a provision of the Constitution again, if this is allowed to go. So there must be, and that is where we called calling the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You have done the needful.
Do you want him to do more?
He definitely needs to do more.
He definitely needs to do more.
His hands not tied as the matter has gone before the court. What else do you think?
See, let me explain something. You see, the governors were not challenging the financial autonomy as provided by the Constitution, but they are challenging a portion of the executive order.
If it fails to happen, what the Attorney General of the Federation should do, deduct from the source. That's what that is it.
You see, what the people, like we said earlier on, if you are not planning to obey or disobey the law, why will you object to the police force being set up? The Constitution says that
those that are afraid of the knives, we know the kind of business that is. Dr. Bele Amos Tom from our Twitter feed, actually the very first tweet says, where were the trade union leaders when for almost 22 years they allowed the governors to blatantly refuse to implement financial autonomy for the legislative arm of government? We tend to wait for knee-jerk approach before we move to solve problems. Well, the end is not near.
Maybe he's not totally informed. You see, ab initio, from 1999, the Constitution provided financial autonomy for judicial workers only. And they have been to court several times. They have been on strike. They suspended the strike and only resumed the strike recently. The legislative arm of government took up this matter after the amendment in 2017, or was it 18 to be precise, when they were now also given financial autonomy. And since then, we have not laid low. In fact, it was with that amendment that the legislative arm of government or legislative workers and trade unions picked up the challenge and have been pushing and insisting on that implementation. Maybe he does not really understand the matter, but for the
parliamentary workers, he sees inactivity for 22 years. Yeah, you said you've been making entries and all that.
No, what I'm saying is the law enabling us to insist on it was only made in 2017 and 2018. Just 2 years or so. And since the law was made, we don't just wake up and say you're going on strike.
That's the amendment of the Constitution.
Yes. Yeah. So when the Constitution was amended or assented by the President, that was when a committee was set up, and we had a representative in that committee pushing for the implementation. When we wait a year after they had not, or 2 years after they had not implemented it, that was when necessitated the passage of the order 10, executive order 10 that is now compelling them that if you don't implement, we will deduct from source and remit. So the unions have not been silent. It's just that we have not come to the public level. That's not how it works.
You waited for the last.
We didn't wait. We were right.
I mean, you waited for the last result, which is
right. Exactly. Nigerians have this attitude of fire brigade approach, but there's a system we have to follow. I cannot be asking the government to hold rule and order, and I will be seen to be disobeying the process. So they say he who comes to equity must come with cleaner. So we have to follow due process. And when we see it does not yield result, we fall back to the last result. And I think 2 years we've tried. Even 2 years we can imagine.
Before I get your comments on the ongoing reconciliatory moves by the Minister of Labour and Employment to make sure everything works well, for how long do you think this will last if they refuse to budge? At some point, they gave a date for implementation, but it appears it didn't take the bait.
Well, actually, for us as a union, the strike continues. The strike continues until the implementation begins. That is it. Yes, there have been moves for reconciliatory and everything, but over a month now, what has it yielded? Nothing. Is adjourning to next week, adjourn to this week. The whole.
At a point, the Governors Forum gave a time for implementation.
They gave a time for implementation, but it will surprise you to know that there's not even a working document yet. The report
was a verbal promise.
Well, as far as we're concerned, it was a verbal promise. It was a verbal promise by them, the Governors Forum, because it has not been communicated to any of the stakeholders. And even if it is communicated to the stakeholders, we are aware that meetings have been broken. You have a meeting today, you adjourn till next week, keep adjourning, and nothing has come out concretely from that meeting up to today for us to hold something tangible and say, okay, yes, the implementation will start today. Now, if you tell me the implementation is starting tomorrow, I'll tell you it's a big no, because there's no sign to show. Since the main issues are still being discussed, I don't agree that.
Okay, you want to add? Are you quite optimistic that perhaps there could be a change of mind on the part of the governors as these negotiations continue?
You're asking me if I believe in miracles. Because that's basically, you see, what the governors did was they held a meeting, didn't agree, came out. It's maybe it's an offer. But what the union had said and what our position is, we expect an MOU to be signed between the governors, the speakers, the judges. It's not just you coming out on TV and telling us that we are going to start implementing in May. What are you planning to implement in May? What are you really planning to implement in May? They made an offer that they are going to give an irreducible amount. Is that what the Constitution provides?
You demand what is due to you.
Exactly. That is it. You see, we are not beggarly. We are not asking for a favor. We are asking we obey the rule. The same way they expect us to obey the rule, we are asking them lead by example.
Well, what's the position of the lawmakers, members of the state houses of assembly in all this?
Well, I wouldn't want to speak for them. They are for as far as we're concerned, as the union, we're disappointed in them because we expected they should stand for the legislative arm of government. They should make their voice known. They should say, yes, this is what we want. We've been given the autonomy. We want nothing less than the autonomy. You understand? We are fighting them too because we told them that we, as staff of the legislative arm of government, we will fight for the full implementation of legislative government for autonomy. And we will fight them too if they stand against it. We will not give them a breathing space. One, and the best, we have submitted our position paper already to the minister. We've given him, and we lay all our demands. One of the demands is the whole 36 state government, as my zonal vice president has said, must sign an MOU granting the financial autonomy fully. And the whole 36 states must have their assembly service commissions. The fund management bill must be put in place too.
What's it all about?
Well, I think the fund management bill is just the criteria for.
Is the committee that allows for the accountant general of the state, the commissioner of finance, the head of the legislature, all the heads of courts in each state to sit down for appropriation purposes and for fund allocation. So before you make your budget, everybody brings his submission. Just the same way it's done naturally. Everybody brings submission. That committee now agrees, okay, what you are submitting is okay, what is submitting is okay, is feasible. They now compound, send to the National Assembly, the State Assembly passes the budget. Then when the funds are released, they sit down and say, okay, based on the appropriation passed, this is your share of the money, this is your share of the money. Not leaving it for one man. They say, okay, you take what you want and you take what you want.
And that one man may decide to withhold, that we have seen
what the governors are now saying, another twist they are bringing is they are going to give when allocation comes, they will deduct all the loans first.
Yes.
Then whatever is remaining, they now prorate it to each. Is that what? That's not what the Constitution provides.
And lastly, on our demands is, we will not take anything less than deducting directly from the source.
As stipulated, no compromise.
Do you negotiate the Constitution? Do you compromise on the Constitution? No. It is what the Constitution is, directly from the source to the accounts of the legislatures or the judiciary. That is what we're asking for. There's no compromise. We don't need to go back and sit down and start compromise or discuss or negotiating the Constitution. For God's sake.
Well, he said the lawmakers, conference of speakers of state houses of assembly, not giving the needed support. Is it surprising? Because you have all painted a picture of how they emerge in the first place and who gets the tickets in the first place. We know
it is highly disappointing and very surprising that every officer, every public officer in this country swears by the Constitution. Then you have a situation where the law provides that a certain action should be taken. And the whole purpose of the legislature, as we are meant or we are trained to believe, is one, passage of laws, two, oversight over the executive and other arms of government. And now you have a situation where a law has been passed, and this law was signed by each house state of assembly, and the governors are not obeying that law, and no state legislature has taken it up with its governor. It is very disappointing, and I'm seriously shocked that we have legislators in 36 states, 36 speakers, and not one has taken up this matter with his governor and say, Mr. Governor, the constitutional amendment provides that you give financial autonomy to state and judiciary and legislature. Why are you not doing it?
You expect them to speak for you?
They're not speaking for us. They're speaking for the Constitution.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They couldn't speak for themselves when, remember the earlier attempts to amend the Constitution in previous years to guarantee financial autonomy. State houses of assembly, majority of them, not majority, at least we didn't get the two-third required. So they even refused then to help themselves.
So the question now lies is, what are you looking for? themselves or their states.
And there will be a bigger beneficiary, even than parliamentary workers, if this autonomy is fully implemented.
Well, definitely, I think, you see, first of all, let's look at the legislative arm of government first, you understand? And let's look at the condition of service of the staff of the nation. Definitely, you know, definitely when you're giving your own autonomy. For example, today there are states that staff salaries is a problem. You understand? Staff have not been getting their salaries for months. Staff allowances for months.
Sometimes some get in percentages.
In percentages. Just take a trip to assemblies and look at their buildings of assemblies. Dilapidated buildings. What I mean dilapidated buildings, you go there, sometimes you look at this, is this really a hazard?
And when there's a political crisis, when there's a rumored impeachment, the governor will now decide to then begin the renovation by removing
the new roof. One cases like that, you understand? And whereas the workers of the assemblies who does 90% of the job are there lying in poverty. Their appointment being terminated. Appointment terminated at any time.
We are seeing where your interest lies.
You understand? Of course, my interest is my people. That is what my people are my interest. You understand? Because the welfare of my people is embedded in that too. You understand? So
it's a right anyway.
It is a right.
So you have to.
It is a right. So we have to ask for a right.
Okay. One more tweet we can share here. That's coming from Steve. The system in Nigeria gives too much power to the chief executive, both at the federal and state level. That's why governors do everything to put other arms of government inside their armpit to amass all wealth and power. Let this be a fight to finish by the judiciary workers, by the parliamentary workers and local government workers. Local government workers are not in the mix yet.
We expect them to be.
We expect them.
In fact, this is not a fight that
they are even the worst hit.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is not a fight where I think it should be left to the trade unions only. This is a national issue we're discussing. This matter, we expect like all CSO should have keyed into this matter because it affects all of us at the end of the day. So I don't think it's a matter that should be left only to trade unions.
Okay, we'll have to prematurely end today's edition of Focus Nigeria to enable us join a live broadcast commissioning of Amide Secondary School live from in Delta State. On that note, we say thank you to our guests Mohammed Usman and Labi Josiah from the Parliamentary Staff Association. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Completed. As I speak, it's about 90%. I want to use this medium to appeal to the contractor handling the project to fast-track it before the rain sets, so that our peoples can settle down in the transformed enabling environment provided by His Excellency. Finally, may I wholeheartedly express our profound gratitude for this giant achievement and to wish you and your entourage a very safe trip back home. Thank you, His Excellency. I pray God bless you, bless Delta State in Jesus' name.
Thank you very much.